Hey there, what's up? Santi here. Today, a bit of sharing some of my experience with language learning. I'm gonna be sharing what has been my experience so far after a month of starting to learn Greek, right? And by the way, I'm just gonna pause and play. That was a pause. That was another pause. This is how I'm gonna control the video. I might try not to edit it just to just to be able to make more videos, you know. So there you go. Okay, just checking that it's working. So yeah, if you see me do that, that's what I'm doing. I did it again just for fun. Haha. So let me share with you a bit of my experience so far learning Greek. I'm gonna start first on why I decided to learn Greek, right? And I made another video where I talk about some of my language failures in the past. My first language is Spanish. English has been definitely something that I've been able to acquire over the long term. It's taken me years and years to get my English to be decent, and there's still tons of room for improvement, but I'm pretty satisfied with it, you know. But like, there's other languages such as I was talking about particularly Latin. Okay, that's the one that is relevant to this video. Latin was a language that I was very interested in, and I was just reflecting on what were the things that attracted me towards Latin and why I failed at it, which again I talk more about in that other video. And that led me to say, okay, what are the things, what is another language that shares some of these interests that pulls me towards wanting to learn Latin? And in my head it was like, yeah, I mean, Greek is kind of like the equivalent of Latin in modern times, and it's kind of hard to explain. I'm not saying Greek is very similar to Latin, but in the sense that they're both ancient languages that are that have evolved quite a lot. I mean, Latin has evolved so much that it has transformed into other languages. The closer one that is a modern version of Latin is Italian. That is why I'm also learning Italian. I'm definitely attracted to ancient civilizations, particularly Roman and Greek, mostly out of philosophy, because a big pivotal point in my life was when I discovered Stoicism, which is an ancient Roman and also Greek philosophy about how to live better, and it's something that I've engaged with a lot. I did a podcast. In case you're interested, I can leave a link in the description, but I've always been very attracted to these ancient philosophical cultures, Roman and Greek, right? And that is definitely why I have always been interested in Greek. But at first I really thought that I was gonna learn Koine Greek, which is kind of like an older version of Greek, right? Like, there's ancient Greek, there's Koine Greek, and there's modern Greek. There might be some in between, but you know, just trying to simplify it a bit. Still no expert in that, but like Koine Greek is perhaps one of the kind of like the middle point between modern Greek and ancient Greek, because you can read a lot of like great literature in Koine Greek. Someone that I'm completely interested in and definitely very curious about being able to read is Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, because he wrote his book Meditations. If you're familiar with that, it's pretty much his journal and his thoughts captured in just a diary, a journal that he wrote. I don't know if every day, but like, he wrote quite a lot of his thoughts in there, and they're just like some of philosophy's best gems out there, right? So if I'm not wrong, Marcus Aurelius actually wrote this in Koine Greek. Again, like this variation that is kind of like the Greek of the people, kind of like the commonly spoken Greek language. Particularly Marcus Aurelius, if I'm not wrong, he's from 300 after Christ. No, wait, that's wrong. It's actually 2nd century. Either way, people spoke Koine Greek. And what's interesting about Marcus Aurelius was that he was obviously a Roman emperor, meaning that he spoke Latin, right? That was his first language. But I did some research on this a while ago, and it actually turns out that a lot of the people that wanted to be perceived as more well-educated or just like more knowledgeable would speak or would try to learn in the Roman Empire. They would try to learn Greek to a high degree. So that's why Marcus Aurelius wrote everything in Greek, because he wanted to practice. And when I first learned that, I was like, oh, that's so cool. I love that. When I learned that about Marcus Aurelius, that definitely encouraged me to write more in English. So yeah, it's been a couple of years that I don't, because I journal every day as well, and I always journal in English, not in Spanish, which is my first language, just a way to practice other languages, and I like that a lot. So that's really cool of Marcus Aurelius. But obviously when I started learning Latin, I was so frustrated that he wouldn't write in Latin, right? So either way, I mean, long story short, in regards to Marcus Aurelius as a philosopher that I've been wanting to read, I knew he wrote it in Koine Greek, and there's tons of other material from ancient times that were written in Koine Greek, such as the Bible, for instance, just to give you an example, and tons of other like poets and philosophers have written in Koine Greek. So a couple years ago, when I had the idea of like, okay, one day I want to learn Greek, I really was conflicted between like, do I want to learn modern Greek or do I want to learn Koine Greek? Because one is not spoken by people apart from academics and nerds, like cool people obviously, but it's not a language that is spoken anymore. So it has a lot of similarities with Latin. The fact that Latin is not spoken in a particular place, but rather by some people that just love the language. So in my head, really, Greek was kind of like a next step after learning Latin. It was like, okay, I want to learn Latin so that I can read the ancient philosophers that I'm interested in, such as Seneca. And then from there, later, I would learn Greek to read more of the philosophers that I want to read, right? Like I was very obsessed with this idea, and that's what really motivated me to learn Latin so that later I can carry on and learn Greek. Then I realized that Latin, I just kept failing, kept like not being able to continue, and I just kind of like failed at it, and then I would go back to Latin again. And well, right now, honestly, my Latin is in a hiatus. I don't know that word, but you know what I mean. Hiatus? I don't know. It just means that I've paused it. I decided to not continue with Latin for now. I really hope one day I can, but with my experience from not really being able to learn Latin the way that I wanted it, or just not being able to have the results that I was hoping for with Latin, definitely, it was a bit of a letdown. And with that, I said like, okay, maybe the same experience will happen with Koine Greek, this older version of Greek that is not spoken anymore. So that finally led me to the conclusion of, okay, I need to compromise a little bit, and I'm gonna just learn modern Greek. So that's what I decided doing a month ago. I decided, okay, I'm gonna learn modern Greek, and so far I think it's been a really good choice. I am still trying to research and learn a bit more about some of these ancient philosophers that I want to talk about, that I want to read about, such as Marcus Aurelius, trying to find a modern version of that. From what I could gather just from like some superficial research so far, it seems like it's a lot. Well, I don't know which one's easier, but like it's definitely more accessible to find the ancient or Koine Greek version of Marcus Aurelius' writings, because that is the original. Like if you try to find that, you're gonna be able to see Marcus Aurelius in original ancient Greek or Koine Greek. So I'm still hoping. I still really want to be able to find modern versions of Marcus Aurelius. Sorry, I was just checking if this is working. Seems like it's working. Yeah, modern versions of the ancient stuff, ancient philosophy that I want to read. Socrates, Aristotle, like all of these guys, Plato. I've been so excited. Like I'd be so happy if I was able to read these. And I really hope they're like, well, I'm sure there are. I just haven't gotten around to that because it feels a bit daunting. But I'm sure there's modern versions of Greek that I can still access of those things. And I'm really hoping that it isn't behind like this wall of just like, you need to know Koine Greek to read this stuff. I'm sure it's not like that, but I really hope a lot of these things are accessible in modern Greek. Well, another thing that obviously interests me a lot and I would like to dig deeper into through Greek would be Greek mythology. Like that is so exciting to me. The idea to be able to, read Greek mythology in Greek and actually know the real names of all the characters and stuff like that. Literally one of the first things that I did as soon as I decided to start learning Greek was to watch Hercules, and I watched it in Greek, and that was so much fun. Obviously, I don't understand anything, but I'm really applying this concept of comprehensible input by Krashen. Definitely need to make another video more in depth about that. It's something that I absolutely believe in and that I really trust, even as like uncertain as it feels at times. But the main idea is just that we understand languages, or we acquire languages, which is kind of like a deeper way to internalize the language in our minds, language acquisition through understanding messages, right? Through comprehensible input. Again, like very fancy terms. I need to find better ways to express this in my own words. But the gist of it is that if you can make some message more comprehensible, right? For instance, if I say like, esta es mi mano, esta es mi cabeza, y ahí abajo están mis pies, esta parte es mis pies, esto es mi pierna y mi rodilla. I'm saying that in Spanish, obviously, but like from the context of like me pointing at different parts of the body, you might be able to associate like different words with different meanings based on what you're seeing. So one of your senses is helping you understand the language in a better way, making it more comprehensible. So that is what I'm trying to apply through watching content, through watching things that I'm really interested in, such as Hercules, like I love that film. And by rewatching something like this that I've already watched before, that I can understand the meaning, not just from like the memories that I have of the film, but also through like all the visuals and all the interactions that the characters have. You know, they say a word, and I just do the work of like processing that word through my memory of the film and through what's going on in the context of the film. So that way I make it a bit more understandable, even if I don't yet know the words, even if I still don't know the structure of the language or the grammar at all. So all of these techniques that I've started to use, that I've started to embrace based on like this idea of comprehensible input, of just listening to a lot of the target language, in my case Greek, listening to a lot of it and reading it as well. These are methods that I'm really passionate about, that I really want to share with you, because they are very revolutionary, I guess, like just because we're so used to the old way that schools teach us grammar and so forth, you know, like I'm really trying to not focus on grammar at all. I'm trying to follow that school of thought, not to say that grammar is always evil, but it's really not necessary for the most part. It seems like an optional thing, which is like mind-blowing to believe. But so far, you know, I feel like I've applied that with English. Like I don't really know the grammar of English that well, and I've been fine. And with Italian also, I'm trying not to learn too much of the grammar, and I feel it's in the right path. Like, I mean, I've, you know, between beginner and intermediate in Italian, but I'm really excited to see where that goes as well. And with Greek, like honestly, I still feel so lost. I still feel like this is impossible, but I'm excited to see where it takes me. One other reason that I forgot to mention, something that really attracted me to Greek that actually Latin didn't have, when I was first attracted to these kind of like ancient languages, well, Greek as a modern version. Like, I mean, first, it's really incredible that Greek still exists, right? Like, I think that's awesome. But one of the things that was really exciting for me was to learn a new alphabet, you know, because when I was like 10 years old, I remember I had these printouts of the Greek letters and I was trying to learn them. Obviously, I didn't have well, there was internet, but like it wasn't as accessible as it is now, and I was a dumb 10-year-old, so I didn't really know how to find these things. All I could do is like print the list of all the letters in Greek, and I was just learning them, you know, I was just trying to memorize them. I was definitely pronouncing them wrong. Now I feel I have better resources to try to learn them better. The other day I found like a nice song, you know, Alpha, Vita, Gamma, Delta, that kind of stuff. So that was really fun to do the other day. And yeah, again, like learning a new alphabet, I think is such a cool experience to be able to I don't know, understand symbols that you previously didn't understand. I think that's so cool. I think that's awesome. So Greek, like, and the Greek letters are like the coolest looking things ever. So yeah, really excited for that. Yeah, I mean, this is a bit of the why I'm learning Greek. I think these whys are gonna keep evolving over time, but it's nice for me to have a bit of a log, a bit of a register of where my mind was at the beginning. Still, again, like first month. I will say, like, even in this first month, I know it's still like I have all the power of just the excitement, the sheer excitement of learning a new language. It has already been a bit difficult and I felt a bit stuck, but I'm really trying to figure out the best way to move forward. You know, like this month that I've been very obsessed with language learning, I've been trying to set up better systems for myself and focusing more on like the how to learn a language, you know, focusing on the building blocks of what really helps you acquire a language. And I feel I've been in the right path. However, sometimes I do feel like there's tons of like, you know, products, applications, tons of like systems and methodologies that are pulling me in different directions, trying to make me, I don't know, learn different things or like believe that one product or one method is better than the other. So that's still been a bit tricky, I will say. I didn't feel all of this with Italian because I didn't feel Italian was an impossible task. But with Greek, sometimes it definitely feels like there's no way, this is impossible. So yeah, if you want to come along with me in the journey, hop on. Let me know in the comments. I mean, if you're here, maybe you're interested in Greek, maybe you're just interested in the experience of learning a new language from scratch. So if you have any questions, do let me know. I'm very excited to make videos based on your struggles and share my struggles and share this journey together. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.